That's the VAB. That's the assembly building where they actually put together the spacecraft. That's pretty freaking cool. Late 9 tuning session here. We've got the R33 strapped down, and we have upgraded to the HKS GT 2530s. So now we have the same turbos as Dusty. It's not quite the same setup as Dusty, but it is the same turbos. So realistically, power-wise, I'd like to see 600, or get us close to it at least. On the Dash 5s that he had on it before, we were able to get 540, 550 out of it. So another 50 horsepower out of the 2530s is definitely realistic. I'm still curious about this setup as far as compression goes, because this is a higher compression motor, and as you increase boost on a higher compression motor, you actually lose efficiency. So it's possible that we're getting past a certain point for the efficiency of this compression, but we'll see. We're gonna turn up a little bit. I just made a couple of preliminary pulls just to make sure our systems are all working right, which they are. Roberto's plumbing in a boost gauge right now that reads a little bit higher, because the one that's in the car only hits like 21, 22 pounds. So I need to be able to see a little bit past that, because we're gonna run into the 24, 25 pound range. But again, realistically, I'd like to see 600 or north of 600. I would like to see that. Will it happen? I guess we'll find out. Car started. It's about time to do it. Alright, well, so made a little discovery. Boost did not get past where we needed to be. It was ending up, hit 22, and then it was actually falling back off. So for this power level, we hit 500 and almost 550 again, which is where we were with the car before. Which makes sense because we're at the same boost level, technically. So we're gonna try and put on a little bit stronger spring on the wastegate and see if we can get the boost to come up, but now we gotta let the car cool off to do that. So unfortunately, that's not gonna happen in this video. But long story short, it's just part of the game. This is what we do. I had to do the same stuff with Dusty too. The wastegates, after many years, they get a little bit weaker, and you know, you need a tighter spring in order to really handle that higher boost level that you're trying to achieve. It's okay for 20 psi or below that, but when you start to push it hard into that high boost level, when I say high, like over 20 pounds, 24, 25 pounds of boost, then you really do need a stronger spring in order to accommodate for that and hold that wastegate closed against that exhaust pressure that's building up in there. So it's a game, and once you get it right, it's worth it. So we'll do another update once we get that set up. But for the meantime, she's just breaking in with these turbos. Let's take a look here in case you guys have never seen it. It's an awesome setup. Only getting better by the minute. So pretty cool. ARC intake box, HKS piping, HKS turbos, cams, cam gears, Nismo intake. And like we said before, this is just a little bit higher compression setup, so it's a little bit different than a factory 26. So that was done in order to make it spool up a little bit quicker, be a little bit punchier. We're running on E85, so it's a little bit safer anyway, and it can handle that extra compression. But again, it's possible once we get past a certain boost level that the efficiency range is not going to be there. But we'll see. It's a setup in the works. It's constantly being manipulated, and for these types of cars, you know, there's really no compromise. You have to make sure everything is good. You don't want to end up with a laggy setup. You don't want to end up with something that doesn't drive right. And with the Hall Tech on board, we're able to dial all this stuff in. This setup is running on 1000cc injectors, twin pumps. It's a very similar setup to Dusty, so definitely a potent car. We just got to get it past that 600 hump to make the customer happy, which I know we'll do. Stay tuned. Well, I'm driving, so this is going to be a talking point. But anyway, where I'm driving is more important. So I'm going up to Kennedy Space Center, which is a couple hours from my home, and it's kind of a cool trip because I actually have family that work for NASA, and I have to go get badged in, and we're gonna be on the runway. It's gonna be cool, and I haven't been there in a while, but I'm gonna show you something pretty cool just to like give you an idea of what I'm talking about. This is a badge that I'm gonna present to them and just show it to them because I think it's really sweet. That is actual Apollo 13 badge. I have all the Apollos from my family. So this is a real badge. I'm gonna take it to the badging office and just kind of play with it, see what they think. I think it's pretty cool. And I'll be up there for some top secret testing I'm doing with a buddy. Talk more about it later when the time is right. But long story short, trying to break a record. And Kennedy Space Center is an unbelievable monument to history at this point, considering the history behind the space program and everything that happened. It's just amazing to even like be there to see that stuff. So it's a real gift, and I'm really excited to be there. And I don't think they're going to let me videotape anything for this, but if they do, I'll definitely share it, but probably won't. For any of you who've been there, it's the site of all the launches for the space program from the original Mercury spacecraft all the way up to the space shuttle. And now they still use it for SpaceX and a couple of other satellite missile launches. But the big meat and potato was Apollo. That was when we went to the moon. And the Saturn V rocket is, I believe, still the most powerful man-made machine. Using its F1 rockets, had 5, where it came from, it's a Saturn V. 5 F1 rockets, which were von Braun's design. So that's what really came out of World War II, if you ask me. We got some amazing rocket scientists, and just an amazing. If you guys are not familiar with the Saturn V rocket, you should check it out. The F1 rockets, the F1 rocket engine was insane. The Saturn V rocket, when at launch, at the time of launch, the Saturn V rocket, as soon as it was trying to break away from the tower, was burning 15 tons of fuel. That's oxygen and kerosene. 15 tons per second. Think about that. That could drain like a swimming pool in like 2 or 3 seconds. So the flow is amazing. It's insane to think that they were able to make that much fluid go through those orifices for that rocket. But it's an insane feat to actually get that much fuel to go through those nozzles. So I still don't think that they've done anything to surpass that to this day. I think the F1 rocket is still the king. So just a cool little bit of information, and I get to talk about what I'm doing, I will. Otherwise,